What's up, YouTube? Thomas L here. Now, one of the best networks right now is HBO. I mean, almost pretty much every year they crank out pretty much lots of high quality stuff. Lots of their shows ends up being Emmy nominees. So I decided to do a top 10 list of my 10 favorite HBO shows. So with that being said, here's my list. Coming in at number 10 is kind of a modern recent one, and that would be Crashing. Now, this show here stars the very funny comic named Pete Holmes, who pretty much plays himself, where his wife pretty much divorces him, and he ends up crashing with other people, and he's also like a stand-up comic. He goes to those comedy shows where he does his comedy bits, and it has few interesting cameos by lots of comics. I mean, Artie Lang had a pretty funny spot. Sarah Silverman appeared on a couple of episodes. Oh yeah, you also had the very funny Jermaine Flower who appeared on a couple of episodes. And Lauren Lapkus, from Jurassic World and Orange is the New Black fame, she plays Pete Holmes' ex-wife. She's pretty good on the show also. I mean, this is a really funny and clever show. It shows how tough being like stand-up could be and all. Because to be honest, I always thought stand-up looked pretty easy. But seeing stuff like Crashing and a few other shows about stand-up, I can see right now that stand-up is not that easy as it looks to be. And the show takes place here in New York City, so that's also a given. But if you guys haven't had a chance to check out Crashing, definitely give it a go. And Pete Holmes, he's a really funny comic. And season 3 actually premieres in January. Premieres in either January or February. Can't remember when season 3 premieres, but can't wait for when season 3 airs. Coming in at number 9 will be Vice Principals. Vice Principals is, I mean, it only lasted 2 seasons. I mean, it was only like a 2-season arc type show. But those 2 seasons was pretty funny. I mean, it stars both Danny McBride and Walton Goggins. And it's also actually created by Danny McBride as well as director Jody Hill. And here pretty much it's like a battle between, like a rivalry between 2 vice principals. McBride plays the main principal while Walter Goggins plays the other principal. I thought this show was really clever. I really liked the dynamic chemistry between both McBride and Goggins. They were both really good on here. You even had Busy Phillips, on the show. Kimberly Herbert Gregory was pretty good. Georgia King was pretty good as well. Had a pretty good, solid supporting cast. And Dave McBride, I mean, he has a pretty good chemistry, like good relationship with HBO, because of course they work together on Eastbound and Down. And Dave McBride has a new show coming to HBO next year with John Goodman called, I think it's called The Righteous Gem, which has him, John Goodman, and Adam Devine. I'm actually looking forward to see how that does. But yeah, Vice Principals, it's really funny. If you guys still haven't seen it, it's on HBO. I believe it's on the HBO app, and I think it's also on HBO On Demand. Check it out. And it's a shame that we never got season 3, because it's a really good show. All right. Coming in at number 3 would be the show Oz. Now, Oz, I guess you could say, was like the male version of Orange is the New Black. and it also starred J.K. Simmons and loads of other folks. I mean, this show pretty much takes place in prison. And shows like this and Orange New Black make me never ever want to go to prison. I mean, if you guys want to see how night prison could be, watch stuff like Oz. I gotta say it's probably slightly better than Orange New Black. And I gotta say, too bad they canceled Oz. Like Oz ended too quick because it was a pretty good show when it was on. And I mean, who knows? Maybe one of these days they'll see about reviving it because I would love to see another Oz revival. I mean, the show. I mean, they didn't end it quick. I mean, it premiered from 1997 to 2003. But I kind of hope they revive it in the future. It also had some other good players, like Christopher Maloney was good in this. You also had Dean Winters, Harry from Lost fame. Rhea Moreno was on this. Ernie Hudson. Yeah, it had some good supporting players. I mean, if you guys haven't had a chance to check out Oz yet, I think you'll probably enjoy it. All right, coming in at number 7 is kind of more of a mini series than an actual series, but it's True Detective. Now, each season will have a different story arc and a different cast as well. I mean, the first season teamed up Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. Then the second season, we had Vince Vaughn, Colin Farrell, Rachel McAdams, Taylor Kitsch was in the second season. Oh, and Alexandra Daddario was in the first season. So if you guys have a little bit of a crush on Alexandra Daddario, watch her in True Detective Season 1. You'll thank me later. But True Detective, I mean, it is a little slow, very draggy show. I will admit there, but it's actually pretty decent. And it has good performances. I mean, Season 2 had good performances by Vince Vaughn. I mean, who knew how good of an actor Vince Vaughn could be? Even people who didn't like Season 2 can't deny how good Vince Vaughn and Colin Farrell was on that show. And I'm actually also looking forward to check out Season 3 of True Detective, which is supposed to have Mahershala Ali and Stephen Dorff. That premieres in January. All right. Coming in at number 6 would be the show Life's Too Short. Now, this show also ended way too quick. The show stars Warwick Davis, who you might know from stuff like Leprechaun, Harry Potter, Star Wars. I mean, this show, like I said, ended way too quick. It premiered in 2011 and ended in 2013. And I guess you could say it's like a mockumentary, like mainly a mockumentary series that was, co-created by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant. And in Life's Too Short, Warwick Davis plays a version of himself whose career is in a downward spiral. And if that's not bad enough, he also has a massive tax bill that's caused by his useless accountant, and a wife and his wife on the show is divorcing him, and I gotta say, Warwick Davis. I mean, who knew how good of a comic he could be? I mean, he had funny parts in Leprechaun, but I never knew he could do straight up comedy that well. And Warwick Davis was amazing on this. And there was even a couple of cameos by Ricky Gervais. Oh wait, yeah, Daniel Radcliffe had a part in this. Johnny Depp appeared in an episode, as well as Steve Carell, and had a few cameos by other celebrities. But like I said, they ended the show way too soon. I mean, if you guys still haven't seen Life's Too Short, give it a go. I mean, I thought it was pretty funny. It was clever. Warwick Davis playing himself was pretty good. I mean, he even had some jokes about Leprechaun, Star Wars. He's had some jokes about, Of course, he's best known for Willow. Man, he was so good on the show. All right, coming in at number 5 will be Game of Thrones. Now, I'm not really the biggest Game of Thrones nut as most people are, but I still quite enjoy the show. I mean, Peter Dinklage is really good. Kit Harington is amazing. And of course, Game of Thrones is ending next year, which I mean is a little shame, but I'm glad that HBO is supposed to do like a spin-off series that I think is supposed to have Naomi Watts in it. And of course, the Stark sisters are really good, played by Macy Williams and Sophie Turner. They gave good performances on the show. Nicola Coster-Waldau as Jaime Lannister. Tyrion Lannister is really good. And of course, this is a show that made me crush on Emilia Clarke. Emilia Clarke is so awesome on this show. And of course, you had other players like Jason Momoa, who's going to be an Aquaman. He was on Game of Thrones. It's such a really good show. I mean, it's very violent. It is a little slow at times, I will admit there. And it has some pretty decent episodes. Like that Beyond the Wall episode was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, Game of Thrones is pretty decent. And I'm looking forward for the final season. Now, of course, Game of Thrones is based on the worldwide book by George R. R. Martin, and yeah, it's a decent show. And like I said, I can't wait for the final season. I think the final season is supposed to premiere in April. I think probably April or May. So hopefully we'll get a trailer for that pretty soon. All right, coming in at number 4 will be Entourage. Now, they did, of course, do the Entourage movie. And the Entourage show, I mean, I was a little late to the party when it came to Entourage. But I still thought the show was pretty funny. It's actually like Sex and the City for guys. That's what I always got from the show. It's like Sex and the City, but, for males. And the 4 leads, played by Adrian Grenier, Jeremy Piven, Kevin Connolly, Jeffrey Ferrara, Kevin Dillon. They all had really good chemistry with one another. And this movie pretty much shows like a side of Hollywood that you probably don't really know much about. And yeah, Entourage, and of course, Entourage gave us Adrian Grenier as Aquaman. I wonder, it would be funny if Adrian Grenier cameoed in the Aquaman movie. Like, it doesn't have to be as Aquaman. It could be like as a different side character or something. But that will actually be a funny cameo to see. And also, Mark Wahlberg, I believe he was like a writer on the show at one point. And I mean, Kevin Dillon as drama, he's probably my favorite character on the show. Yeah, like out of all the characters, drama will probably be my favorite. Every time he says something, it just cracks me up. And yeah, I gotta say, I'll let you see Entourage make a comeback on TV because the movie was actually awesome. So it'll be cool seeing like another series. I don't know if we'll get another movie because I don't think the movie did all that well. But if they announce it like they're reviving Entourage for another series, I'm down with it. Love to see these guys back again. All right, coming in at number 3. Speaking of movies about LA, coming in at number 3 will be Curb Your Enthusiasm. Boy, HBO has a thing about like mockumentary shows with actors pretty much like either playing themselves or dealing with Hollywood and all. I mean, we had Life Too Short. They did Entourage, and now Curb Your Enthusiasm. Now, Curb Your Enthusiasm starred the great Larry David, who's how amazing is he at playing Bernie Sanders, by the way? And the show was created by Larry Sanders, And in the show, Larry Sanders plays like a version of himself who constant barrage of life, life's lows. Pretty much, he plays like a fictional version of himself. And there's like a few good supporting players, like Jeff Garlin is amazing on this. You had JB Smooth, Cheryl Hines, and there have been a few pretty funny guest spots on the show as well. And Entourage, and Kirby Enthusiasm recently got revived last year, and I guess the next season will be in 2019. It's a really clever and funny show, and if you guys still haven't had a chance to check it out, definitely give it a go. All right, coming in at number 2 will be The Wire. Now, lots of people, of course, say this is one of the greatest TV shows of all time. And, of course, I will agree with that. It's a really clever, amazing show. I mean, Michael K. Williams as Omar is such a good character. You even had other players like Idris Elba. I think Mike B. Jordan was on the show at one time. I mean, you had the likes of Dominic West, Wendell Pierce. Pretty good players who like lots of actors in this ended up being bigger because of the show. I mean, if it wasn't for the show, I don't think we probably would have Idris Elba or any other big players. And it's a really clever, amazing show. Good performances. I gotta say, I kind of hope HBO will see about reviving the show one of these days. Not sure if that will happen, but who knows? I mean, if they revive the show, God knows if Idris Elba or any other cast will appear because they're a little bigger now than they were back when the show first aired. But it's still a classic show. And they announced a revival. I'm all for it. And the show is also created by David Simon, who also has that Deuce show they created as well. So he's pretty much big with HBO. All right. Coming in at number 1, it's a no shocker. My number 1 favorite HBO show of all time is pretty much one of my favorite dramas of all time. But anyway, my favorite HBO show of all time is The Sopranos. I mean, such a classic, mafia family. James Gandolfini as Tony Soprano is one of the greatest characters to ever been on TV. E. Falco was amazing. This was such a amazing show. And it was a drama, but there was actually some funny scenes that happened on a couple of episodes. I mean, it's such a shame that James Gandolfini sadly passed away too soon. He was just an amazing Tony Soprano. And I mean, this show pretty much, I guess you could say, it revived the gangster drama, because it's, I mean, the gangster aspect of this show is really good. I mean, whenever I think of mafia, all I think of will probably be Goodfellas, Sopranos. I mean, this is such a, I guess you could call them a dysfunctional family, but they're such a good crime family here. And some of the supporting players, I mean, you're talking Michael Imperioli, he was amazing. Tony Sirico, you even had Steven Van Zandt. Jamie Lynn Singer played the daughter of Tony Soprano. Lorraine Bracco, Dominic China's, the always great Steve Sharapia, Vincent Pastore, Frank Vincent. It has some really good players, and I always was fascinated by mafia's accents. I mean, I'm from New York, so of course I'll be fascinated by their accents. But I mean, mafias you're not supposed to really like because they kill people and all. But something about The Sopranos make you really appreciate the mob like on TV and all. And I gotta say, since this ended, we haven't really had much mafia shows on TV. I mean, I guess you could say we had Boardwalk Empire and all, but we never had I since The Sopranos ended. I can't recall we ever having a mafia show that was that was kind of like The Sopranos. I don't know. FX has that new Godfather in Harlem. Maybe that could be the next Sopranos, but we'll have to wait and see there. But yeah, again, I don't think no show could live up to The Sopranos, and it's just an iconic show. If for every reason you guys still haven't had a chance to check out The Sopranos, definitely give it a go. I mean, it had a pretty good ensemble, good performances. R.I.P. James Gandolfini, gone way too soon. And I'm also really, to change subject here, I'm also really looking forward to see that Sopranos prequel movie that should come out by Warner Brothers. I'm actually really intrigued by that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it for my 10 favorite HBO shows. Let me do the quick rundown. Number 10, Crashing. 9, Vice Principals. 8, Oz. 7, True Detective. 6, Life's Too Short. 5, Game of Thrones. 4, Entourage. 3, Curb Your Enthusiasm. 2, The Wire. 1, The Sopranos. Now, there's a few others I could have added. Let's see. Big Little Lies is a good one. Sex and City I dug, but was never really big with Sex and City. Let's see. There's also 6 Feet Under is a good one. The Leftovers is pretty decent. Yeah, HBO done a lot of stuff over the years. But let me lead you guys. What are your favorite HBO shows? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is Thomas L. signing off.